and they know our opinions, and there was no question. We have the greatest regard for Anna, and I have the greatest concern for Anna, and always have had. But that doesn't mean that I have to agree with him on a law.
You don't have to.
I agree with him with his intent. I agree with his campaign. I'm extremely impressed by the numbers of people who've come to support him against corruption. I also join him in this effort against corruption. But when you fashion a tool, someone can say bring a hammer, someone can say bring a stone, someone can say bring another implement.
Yes,
but then we can't quarrel with each other saying that you don't want to do it. Now these allegations, I'm going to suggest that these allegations are being made by you because you're an undemocratic person.
Thank you.
And you want one person to say something and everybody to accept
No, not at all. Thank you.
But for me, the way I've been brought up is impossible. I cannot accept just because somebody else says it. I have to understand, I have to assimilate, and I have to feel that it's right. So in many ways, I agree with some of the issues that have been raised in the Jan Lokpal. We've had detailed discussions with them, and the agreements are all on record, and the disagreements are all on record. So far as today is concerned, I'm concerned about the health of Anna, and I also think the government has not behaved with the kind of judicial clarity and judgment that it should have. And I am critical of what it did to Anna. I'm critical of the arrests they made of Anna. I'm critical of the way they've been treating public protest. And these are all out in the public domain. I neither belong to the government, nor do I belong to the India Against Corruption. I belong to the National Campaign for People's Right to Information.
Ms. Aruna Roy, you know, I have a right to ask the questions. I'm only asking the questions, and I therefore will ask one question to you. Are you wary of the people with Anna Hazare and Arvind Kejriwal? Because you said, I'm quoting you, you said after forming India Against Corruption, Arvind wanted us to join India Against Corruption, at which point it was made clear we would not join a campaign in which other secular and organizations which have been working for corruption were not members, but it was only a couple of members from us, but very prominently there were people from religious organizations. We didn't use the word saffron, we said religious organizations.
True.
Is there a problem?
But I must say,
what did you suggest?
In the forming of the National Campaign for People's Right to Information, we brought in everyone who had wanted some battle for right to information, and the doors were open and they joined. But in this case, an organization was formed and we were asked, and I belong to the Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan. I spent 28 days in the month in villages of India. I live with very poor peasants and workers, and the MKSS, which mandates my saying yes or no, decided that it didn't want to join, so we didn't join. And this is something we can't question. You can't ask me why I should or shouldn't join. I've given you the reason. You may like it or you may dislike it. It's your choice.
Miss Aruna Roy, in the context of what are widely publicized differences between you and this group, I'm asking you, this has been a backdrop of the differences between both sides. Now, here's a question. Here's a question. There are 2 points.
I've stated those differences over and over again. Frankly,
I'm only asking you, ma'am.
I also told Arvind Kejriwal that we would support him in the drafting of the bill. We sat, but then we had differences of opinion over the bill. We did not tell him that we wouldn't join him in the anti-corruption, not join him again in the process of anti-corruption campaigns. We only said we wouldn't become members of India Against Corruption.
You did say that very prominently there were people from religious organizations, and I am putting this in the backdrop of
I did say that. I'm saying that's because I have been part of a system.
Are you saying this group is not secular?
Associate very intimately.
Are you saying this group is not a secular group?
I am saying that for me, my organization defines composition in terms of composition of organizations in a much broader sense. My organization felt that with such a heavy weightage, it may not be secular. So I abided by what my organization said.
So there is a backdrop. I'm only putting this. There is a backdrop. I'm coming to you, Mr. Sundaram. 1 minute. There is a backdrop and there is a history. There are differences between these two sides. I mean, I think it's quite clear that there are differences. The history of differences between these two sides.
I think, Mr. Goswami, this discussion today doesn't have any meaning because we are really going to talk about the law today.
Okay,
what
fine.
Is the relevance
on the law, here's a question. On the law, here's a question. On the law, here's a question. 1 minute, Mr. Sundaram. I have a question on the law to Mr. Aruna Roy. Then I'm getting reactions from both you gentlemen.
Yes.
The NCPRI's draft has a 3-member team, if I'm not mistaken. PM, leader of opposition, sitting judge. In which, otherwise, 2/3 dominance by the selection committee to be nominated by the Chief Justice of India. So there's political dominance in the selection committee. Miss Aruna Roy, Team Anna's selection committee, allow me ma'am, does not have political dominance. Now the most obvious thing is,
I know what the Team Anna team
if it is aimed to investigate politicians, it must not have political dominance. It's a very moot issue here.
I'll tell you what. The CAG is appointed by the government. The Chief Election Commissioner is appointed by the government. Every single person mentioned in that is appointed by the government. So if the government is going to know that the Lokpal will be appointed by this committee, it will load those appointments. And we are not for any government predominance. We do not want the government to take over. And anyone who knows my history knows that I've stuck my neck out. Just the other day I was in POSCO and we were agitating against the government of Odisha and the government of India. I am no flag bearer for the government.
Right.
But I feel what has been done, and this is mischievous, that if there is a difference of opinion, you want to flag it that I am a government tout or I am a government.
These are words you are using, ma'am.
Or I am a whatever it is.
I've never used this.
That's not right.
I'm only okay. Here's another view. Here's another.
There may be a system, and there may be a difference in understanding a system.
Certainly.
And that might arise out of a certain set of experiences.
Certainly.
We certainly don't think government should dominate. We are very critical of the government bill. We think it does not establish the independence of the Lokpal. We think it is a bad law. We think it doesn't bring the PM in. We object to that.
Yes, Ms. Roy.
We think it's a very incomplete bill. It does not bring in grievances. There are so many things in which we agree with the Jan Lokpal people in our criticism of the government bill. But there are some differences, and these cannot be settled in a TV program. What you need to do is to sit across the table and talk.
But we can ask, ma'am. Just asking. Mr. Soli Sorabji now. Is it a good thing right now to withdraw the bill? Withdraw the bill completely. Instead, withdraw the bill and have a fresh start.
Arnab.
Yes, sir.
The whole question today is, frankly, as I agree with Ram, first most important thing is to see Anna Hazare lives as we want him to live.
Yes.
Santosh Hegde, member of the team, has also made an appeal to him to call off the fast. Number one. Then we can go into the other things. What I want to tell you is, there are genuine differences regarding two issues.
Yes.
You can't say there are made-up differences about inclusion of Prime Minister. Even Chief Justice Venkatachala, Justice Verma think he should not be. Not because he's above the law, not because it is Manmohan Singh or Atal Bihari Vajpayee, because they have reasons. Now they may be right, they may be wrong. What I want to point out is they have a point of view which cannot be brushed aside. For the inclusion of the superior judiciary, I also have very serious misgivings that if the present constitutional provisions are not amended, this Lokpal having jurisdiction of the superior judiciary will clash with it. So these are genuine differences which can be bridged in a spirit of give and take. No one must ride the high horse, nor the Prime Minister, as Fali properly said, nor the Anna team. Both must curb egos, come and resolve the differences in a proper spirit without any rancor or without any conviction that they are infallible and the other party is wrong. That spirit I don't like. And especially when you give ultimatum within 3 days, 4 days, this kind of legislation can't be done that way. We must prepare a proper atmosphere and spirit. And I agree the most important thing is Anna Hazare's health and life.
No, but Mr. Sundaram did feel that was extremely inflammatory what Mr. Ram Jethmalani said. Mr. Jethmalani, now you see, Pranab Mukherjee has begun the negotiations. Now Pranab Mukherjee speaks a political language. He won't try and speak a technical language. But does he have any leg room, Mr. Jethmalani? The Prime Minister has made his position clear in a 2-page letter. Either the Pranab Mukherjee changes the Prime Minister's position to give the leg room to himself, in which case it will affect the Prime Minister's own standing and credibility. Do you see a room for a compromise? You're saying we're worried about Anna Hazaare. Where do we start?
Well, look, Anna, I met him this afternoon.
Yes.
I pleaded with him. I said, Anna, for God's sake, do not desert this movement by dying away, because this movement requires you. And I said, I'm prepared to die, but I want to die before you die in this cause. Now, he's today determined that his version of the Lokpal bill is better. It certainly is better. I have no doubt as a lawyer, I can tell you that his version is much better, and the government's draft suffers from terrible, terrible infirmities which a sensible Prime Minister should have noticed long ago. His cabinet should have noticed them long ago. But they are also standing on their ego and their pride. They have to give it up today and surrender to the will of the people of this country. And according to me, there is room for a debate over some words in the bill, the comma or a semicolon or a full stop here and there. All these are matters of negotiation that can be done only by sitting across the table. And it's true, as the lady said, that they can't be resolved on a television interview. But we are prepared to do that, provided it is a genuine assurance from the government that they want to heed to public opinion and they are not out to ride over it,
yes,
or to supplant it.
Yes.
Because the people today have also made up their mind.
Yes.
They are not worried about the text of the bill. They are worried about the major problem of corruption in this country,
yes,
which is the cause of poverty in this country,
yes,
which is the cause of everything that today ails this unfortunate nation.
Absolutely.
And even if the Lokpal bill is resolved, this issue is resolved, please understand that the war over corruption is going to continue. The Prime Minister has called it the cancer of the nation. It is worse than the cancer of the nation. But the Prime Minister is showing no indication, giving no evidence at all that he is worried about this cancer. Now the war over the issue of corruption will continue.
It has to, no, but you need a resolution tonight. Yes.
Anna will be a party to that war. Don't think that by solving the problem of the Lokpal bill, you are going to end this fight against corruption.
No, absolutely.
That is the major fight, and that's the major fight which will go on.
I'm with you, Mr. Jethmalani. Mr. Sundaram, you wanted to come in, yes?
Yes. Arnab, I am basically a Democrat, and I believe there is nothing better than democracy in this country. I believe that democracy is brought out by anybody able to speak their will, to speak their political will, to speak what they want and believe in. The point here is, like I said, we're all against corruption. We have somebody like an Anna Hazaare, who's a very great man, who has been able to move a cause. I think we're all with him on the cause that we are against corruption. It's a means of getting there, and we are discussing a bill. It worries me, and according to me, it is the death knell of democracy if any one person says, mine is the only way. That is the very death knell of democracy.
But there are...
Yours may be the best way. Allow me to finish. Yours may very well be the best way. For all we know, that may be the correct way. But the fact is that there could be other views.
Of course.
Now we cannot say it has to be my way or the highway.
Of course not.
That will never be the case.
But that is the moot point.
Worrying me. What is worrying me today is that we have an elected body of people, which is Parliament. However we look at it,
Mr. Sundaram
Parliament has been elected, and the people who are sitting there have been elected by the majority of the people today.
Mr. Sundaram,
it is the man who goes to the ballot box and votes, who is voting
Mr. Sundaram,
at that time. Today you have to accept that there is a bill which has been introduced. There are other suggestions being made. Let's discuss
Mr. Sundaram,
consider which is better.
Mr. Sundaram, I have great regard for you. I am not legally trained. You are legally trained. And you are three preeminent lawyers and a tremendous social activist. But I must tell you this, that there are 6 stages, sir, that a bill has to go through before it becomes an act. The multiple stages that it has to go through. Anna Hazaare is not saying take me through the 6 stages without consulting the people. All he is saying is take me to stage 1, which is reading introduction of the bill in either House of Parliament. Get me introduced. in Parliament and then debate it. It is your property after that. After I come out of a break, and I have to take a break just very briefly, I'm going to ask Aruna Roy. Will Aruna Roy have any problems?
Is it possible to introduce two bills?
You can keep making changes. You can keep making changes. Whether you introduce Aruna Roy's bill or the Jan Lokpal bill or the government bill, it will not be the final draft of the bill in any case. And therefore, what difference does it make to take Anna Hazare's bill, or tomorrow you can bring Aruna Roy's version or anybody else's version on Parliament? When I come out of a break, I'm going to ask Aruna Roy whether she will have any problems if this version of the bill is introduced. And then maybe her version of the bill is taken up in the standing committee. What difference will it make? I'm going to ask that, but back in 2 minutes to this discussion.